Oh, that's the wrong camera. A few of these so far. This is the third one. Josh is waiting, trying to catch me doing something.
Yeah.
Like sitting.
Good thing it didn't give me like 5 seconds ago when I was picking my nose.
I know, that's exactly what I was alluding to, but didn't want to say it. I was leaving it up to the imagination, Kevin. We're trying to help those 5- and 6-year-old kids develop.
I just always imagine like some
me.
people, as soon as like the camera like shifts off, then they just like rip off their shirt or something like that.
I always get the question, what do you do during the breaks? That's but during the game, I mean, all right, Kevin, that's how we want to play.
He just threw his shirt at me. He just threw his shirt at me.
It was an accident.
On air.
It actually.
Please introduce our
in the
players.
top right-hand corner of the map, ladies and gentlemen, from the team Prime, he is Creator. His opponent in the bottom left, having shored up a victory in game number 2, he is the blue Terran player Puma. And he looked really, really good in that last set versus Beyond, but Creator is a different beast entirely.
Yes. Still very similar and cat-like to the Puma, but, you know, potentially a Jaguar. In any case.
Creator, I guess, yeah, could make himself into any shape.
Creator is
I guess more of a mystique.
Creator's a very adaptive player, and he's...
Speaking of mystique. Yeah. Sorry, you just... Come on, Kev. Like,
he really imposes his will on the game, though, which I think is the coolest part about his play. He's a very patient player. He knows the exact moment when to strike, when to sit back, when to play passively, when not to. And the cool thing is that whatever he ends up doing, he defends it perfectly. When he was pioneering that Double Forge Colossus strategy, he had Stalkers all across the map so he would never be killed by drops. And he always had his units close enough that he could quickly rally them to the front in case there was a quick bio attack there. The same has continued now, even through the much longer PvT that we kind of see today. So I always look forward to Creator Prime's games, and this is no exception. I really want to know. I really think it's going to be on Puma to try to do something kind of weird to throw him off his game.
Yeah, you're actually saying things that like. One of my favorite players on my team, Infinity 7, is Pyre. He's just this player who's really crisp, very mechanical. He knows his builds are just perfect, like to the second. And I mean, as you were saying that, Kev, Creator, he brought his scouting probe back, and it was the 3rd probe to go into the assimilator. And I will tell you that 80 to 90% of his games, that's probably what happens.
Yep.
Because you just get so in a formula, and I don't know. I have like a certain respect for players that do that so well. You know that they put in all that time.
Right.
Practice.
And maybe that means that that probe comes back at that specific time, so we can keep another probe on minerals for just 1 extra trip, and he gets himself that extra 5 minerals. But that alone is a change worth making if you can do it.
Especially if it's something you have every game.
Exactly.
Yeah, like in the long run.
Is 5 minerals going to make the difference? No, but it's those tiny little incremental advantages which separate great players from the godlike players that are like Creator Prime.
Absolutely.
All right, well, Nexus drops down. This SCV picks up on it right away. Don't think it was spotted by the probe. Don't think it got quite close enough. Of course, the building itself, as it's constructing, doesn't have any vision just outside of this radius, so it can't see the SCV off to the right-hand side. Puma, though, sees this Nexus, and immediately after that's thrown down, decides to put down a command center of his own, a 3rd one, I should say.
Yep, and he's going to be playing nice and greedy, and this is a pretty good map for that. You know, we've talked a lot, actually, about Daybreak and the fact, it's always Daybreak, Kevin, Cloud Kingdom. And,
we have talked a lot about Daybreak, but sometimes unintentionally.
But it's always this is always a great map to take 3 bases on, and then your 4th base can just be very, very difficult.
Yeah.
So especially, you know, he's gonna be able to drop all his mules to evenly distribute the amount of minerals that have been mined, so he won't run into this situation where, you know, he's pinned on 2 base or anything like that. I like this play on this map pretty much in any situation when you're going up against a Protoss like Creator.
Yeah. You talk about it, you know, difficult to take a 4th base and hold on to it and stuff like that, or at least that's where the engagements tend to happen.
Yeah.
On this base, if you get towards the super late game, you tend to see 3 fully mined out bases. Then you tend to have a 4th, which is mostly mined, and then this base, which is half mined, this base, which is half mined, this base, which is half mined, because those are where the engagements happen. And there's always this tug of war struggle to be able to lock down 1 or 2 mining bases in the later parts of the game.
Yeah, I mean, the 4th base is just so open towards the front, and if you take them on those extraneous, really far away corners, you know, down on the bottom right and top left, they're so far away. It's really just a lose-lose situation. It's kind of makes this map exciting.
Okay, so taking a look at things after, all of that, Creator does not have any forges down now. He's going up to his 4 gas relatively quickly, so, but everything hitting at him is such that he wants information at the moment. What has he actually seen out of his opponent?
Safety.
He's seen nothing. And Creator's always a player who will make like 3 or 4 observers and just send them all across the map, tag them along with armies, make sure he has perfect vision of what his opponent is doing. Runs up 2 stalkers there. Not really going to get too much done, but they do take map control back for him. And this observer is going to get in and check out what his opponent is up to. There's observer number 2. It is Creator we're watching. Of course, Robotics Bay following that up just afterwards.
This is pretty cool because Creator is reading his opponent's build quite nicely. Granted, he hasn't seen anything, Kev, but he just, he's going for Colossus. Let's say that. He's going for very fast Colossus here, and that is, Colossus, they're kind of good for pushing and killing things like bunkers. They're not too bad at it.
Pretty much kill everything.
He's going to get in here. He sees no production. He's going to say, you've got a 3rd base hiding somewhere. And has he actually seen the command? Now he's definitely seen it, but he knew this was here the second he saw that the factory was just getting started.
Now, here's the cool thing, though. We are seeing the classic Creator Prime build, the absolute classic Creator Prime build. Double Forge, Robotics Bay early, investment into upgrades, investment into economy, stay safe against mid-game attacks. This is the way that Creator Prime likes to play. Now, I feel like we've not concentrated on Puma enough, and I apologize. We obviously saw a game from Puma last time, but Puma is playing this game really well, too. He took a very nice risk at the beginning of the game, knowing when that Nexus was popping down, grabbed that 3rd command center immediately. He's even going to get that saturated at just the 9:15 mark. That's very good for a Terran player to be able to do, especially against this sort of a thing when there could be a couple of Colossi headed his way soon.
Yeah, that's actually a great point. And, he's going to have Stim finished up, +1/+1. It's going to be a lot popping out here in a second for Puma. Whereas Creator, with these upgrades, it's just going to be nice and slow. I actually expect him to use with the double forge behind the Stim finishes. These Stalkers are dead. At least he got a lot of health off the Marines for it.
He blew up at the exact same time, which was kind of cool.
I was like, did he let a Stalker go?
I was about to...
He's making like this hand that it's kind of like if you're speaking to a large audience.
I was about to say, though, that the control from Creator there was actually fantastic. He was ducking in, he was targeting down the hurt Marines, picked off 2 of them, but unfortunately Stim finished it exactly that moment, and he wasn't able to get anything else done. But taking a look at Creator's side, he's going to finish up his Twilight Council just about the time that he has these upgrades done. Looks like he's not chrono boosting those at the moment, so the Twilight Council should finish just moments before. There we go. Okay, now they're going to finish it about the same time. But Puma, on the other hand, already going up to, 6 barracks? No, I'm sorry, 7 barracks off of his 3 bases. So again, he himself is even really investing in infrastructure, but I haven't seen a commitment. There we go, finally into 2-2.
Yep, and he's just waiting for enough gas to start that up. Has it good. Puma, gonna have a ton of bioforces on the ground, guys. And still, he's working on that medevac count. I think that's gonna put him at 4. We could be seeing drop play here in a moment, but knowing that this is the time for drops to hit the field, expect Creator to start making preparations for this. We'll see if we see any pylons on the outskirts, down towards the bottom right. He's already got one in the top left.
Yeah, but remember we mentioned observer position. There's an observer over there. There's an observer over there. I think this is a pylon up here. There's a pylon up there. He had the observer in his opponent's base. So it looks like these medevacs did just load up, but they're going to run smack dab into the middle of this observer, and I believe that was already under the guise of the 2nd observer off to the left. So look, the Stalkers are already getting in position. This is Creator playing safe, like we mentioned that he always does.
Yeah, and I feel like you should get an achievement when units just load up into a dropship right beneath you. Is it about to happen again? Yeah, it happened once, so he knows he's... Yep, there we go. His Stalkers are in position. Starts firing on the medevac. Oh, that medevac's going to die while it is still only 3 slots empty, and suddenly we've got a nice dip in supply for Puma, who just took some heavy blows. We'll see if he makes something happen over on the left here.
Trying another drop, but there's a good potential unless he cuts right now. Yeah, he goes right in front of a pylon, so he is actually not going to get that drop done whatsoever. He clears up the pylon, but that's going to allow Creator to shift his units into position. Snags 1 Marine, almost grabs a Marauder as well, and Puma's actually going to engage this. Don't think that's going to work out too well for him. He did bait out a lot of energy from the sentries, but that's not what he wanted.
Yeah, he didn't kill anything there except the pylon. He lost about 6 or 7 units. Standing to possibly lose his factory in just a second too, Kev. And things suddenly for Puma, guys, he's about to finish 2-2, so we can give him that, actually. That's really nice. But but he has been taking some blows here.
Yeah, Creator Prime basically has like the best upgrade path of any player that's out there right now, and to be able to keep toe-to-toe with him is no small feat. So kudos to Puma that he's finishing up 2-2 just before Creator is, and he's keeping even on those upgrades, if actually even a slight bit ahead. He's obviously got a very nice infrastructure for the late game. Now, he hasn't built a 4th command center yet, and it looks like he's going to rely on getting his Ghost production up, make sure that he can start to move, take a little bit of map control and establish a 4th a little bit later on, maybe after some pressure, because Creator hasn't gone after a 4th base himself.
Yeah, he hasn't. You know, as we said, it's a tough map to take a 4th on.
Yes.
I want to point out also that Puma's timing here with the Ghost Academy is beautiful. The Templar Archives just now finishing. He's just starting those up. He'll be able to make some ghosts here in a moment. 3-3 also on the way for both players. And Puma's going to be in a great position there, whereas a lot of Terrans, you know, would fall behind in that regard by this stage.
Yeah, absolutely. But now we have a very large army out for Creator. 5 Colossi, lots of charge lots, 3-3 upgrades on the way. Very powerful Archons added into the mix, and inevitably we're going to see some High Templar here in just a bit. Now there are, let's see, 8 Vikings. How many are being produced right now? Let's go ahead and take a look. Okay, still just 1 at a time for the moment, but he's going to have +2 upgrades. And +2 upgrades and 9 Vikings is a decent amount to deal with. The Colossi may need a few more, though, otherwise he's going to need absolutely perfect positioning.
Oh, stims a couple of Marauders back. Does force the blink forward from the Stalkers. And, you know, actually engaging there could have been very interesting because the Zealots would have been trapped behind the Stalkers. I'm not sure if the count was high enough. But either way, Puma going to take it nice and safe, hold up at the top of the ramp while his 4th is being constructed. It's about 3/4 of the way done. Creator not going to wait, though. He's going to push now.
Yeah, he's going to try and deny this command center at least for a little while. At least he gets 1 shot off. Unfortunately, the SCV at that moment was around the back, so he wasn't able to kill it. In fact, targets the command center, and the splash damage from the beam's not hitting that SCV at all, so it looks like it is going to finish in just a moment. So again, SCV just sent out to scout over towards the top left, but of course, Creator's going to finish his 4th Nexus too, and we could actually stabilize towards a really late game here. Yeah,
we certainly could, as the 4ths are both down, and if these guys can't really pressure on each other, this is actually going to get very interesting. You know, we got the cannons going down for Creator. I assume, yeah, they're in their production, okay. Because that's going to help secure that 4th base at least as best as he can. As we discussed, it's very open. The Zealot's going to be cleaned up, no problem. SCV's like, psh, I got this.
Yeah, he could actually duck a couple of those units inside of the bunker. There we go. So it's going to make those, just that 1 bunker is enough with a few SCVs repairing it to stop small groups of Warpins of Zealots that are so annoying towards the latter part of the game. Of course, it does take some of the supply away from your frontline army, but usually positioning is going to make up for the lack of units lost.
So, guys, a lot of this fight is going to come down to the Vikings versus the Colossus. The EMPs, where do they land? We see the Zealots got hit. Still a lot of sentries, though, with energy storms going down. Not really hitting anything quite yet. Here come the Vikings. The Stalkers are not getting that much damage in right now. The Colossus, though, are tearing through the bio forces and not yet falling. Now the Colossi, after most of the anti-air have been killed, though, are going to be able to be picked off by these Vikings. And Creator, losing every Colossus, is now going to have to contend with the leftover bio forces.
It was kind of a weird fight. It was very just kind of stand at each other and just swing haymakers at each other the entire time. There wasn't a lot of positioning of units back and forth. Creator kind of just ran forward, determined to kill as many bio units as he possibly could. They largely fought themselves to a standstill, but they fought themselves to a standstill at a moment now when they each have a 4th base. They each have 3-3 upgrades. They each have their full tech paths pretty much exposed. So it's going to be kind of an interesting game from here on out, because both economies are going to be very similar, but Creator does actually have the much larger bank at the moment.
Yeah, he definitely does, and that's going to play into his favor greatly. I want to highlight, though, for Puma, the really cool play that he fell back with the biome after he killed a lot of the Stalkers, and that just left the Vikings to uncontested take out those Colossi, which Creator now has to replace. But on 4 bases, you know, that's not such a difficult thing, especially when you're sitting on as much money as he is. So, I mean, it's a tough spot still to call between both these guys.
Look at this Stalker doing work on the high ground here. 4 kills already, 5 kills. Finally, Puma realizes that and backs away.
I want to call it cute, but then I feel like that Stalker would kill me instead.
Probably so. It's an old DT. It's an old grizzled veteran dead DT, so... let's see here.
Now it's a dead Stalker, Kevin.
Yeah, it is. He's never coming back. That's it. And it looks like the same thing is going to be done here. A bunch of probes being killed on the high ground. So nice job by Puma to answer harassment with harassment.
So at this point, I mean, this is so dead even. 166 supply. Can we actually give it an advantage to either of these guys? I guess it's going to sit in the units tab.
But I mean, look at that. We have 61 workers to 65.
I mean, what beats nukes?
Well, yeah, that's
Kevin.
true. Nukes
They
do
destroy
win.
countries.
Wow, geez. But yes, you are correct. But let's see. Stemmed up units are going to immediately take out the robotics facility. Oh, he takes out the Nexus right now. This is a big gain for him. Creator actually rallying all of his forces back. There is a potential for him to get up and get out of here in just a bit. Looks like he's going to pick up with 3 medevacs, trying to make his way out of there. Flies over a photon cannon. He's going to lose one of the medevacs for sure.
Oh, that's kind of where you want to, like... actually, okay. In that circumstance, could you drop a Marine?
And no,
well, because the Marine wouldn't the cannon target the Marine?
You could draw aggro from it, I suppose, but I'm not actually sure.
I'm not sure.
That would be kind of rough because the photon cannon was so close and it was already fixated on the target anyway.
Yeah, it was like you want the cannon to shoot the other medevac instead, but I wonder if you could drop a Marine in that circumstance. Either way, Creator guys, 198 supply right now. After killing that medevac, we've seen Puma drop a little bit down to 180, but at the same time, economically, Creator's in a little bit of a tough spot after losing that Nexus.
Well, a lot of that was banked up economies, too. We mentioned going into that Creator had an additional 1,500, 1,000 in the bank, so he was able to replenish to a higher supply count, but economies afterwards have been very even. Well, they were very even, actually, until this got destroyed. So that's a lot of gas income right now that Creator's losing. Even some mineral income. You know, there's not a ton of resources here. There was still a couple thousand that were left. So that's going to significantly hamper him, and it's given Puma the opportunity to really catch up in his overall army count. 12
Ghosts, 18 Marauders. How many Vikings does he have on top of that? We're looking at 10 against 3 Colossus. I mean, not a bad position for Puma to be in right now, but Creator at the same time has a very nice position with his harassment, taking out some additional SUVs. He is going to have to pull back, though. This is not even... What? He's fighting this.
Okay, well, he's going to lose
that. He couldn't get away.
He's going to lose that Colossus very quickly. That's a good win for Puma. He's going to try and chase down these Zealots. He's going to snag a couple of them at least. But look at this. I mean, Puma now in a brilliant position. He's got a maxed out army. He's going to be banking resources. Creator does have a 5th base in the top left-hand corner, and that's really what's doing well for him. I hear a nuke, and a nuke's actually popping up over at his 3rd.
You're like, I don't need that new Heart of the Swarm mini-map update.
Zoning in on that right now. Oh, dear mother. Bye-bye, Probes.
Oh,
that's a huge
damage. Wow. Puma suddenly is content to kick up his heels and wait and wait and wait. He immediately starts up some obscure upgrades.
Yeah. Hey, I love that, though. Building armor, man, that's actually pretty resilient against units in the late game. Run-bys and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. Just, you know, he wants to wait here. Here's the thing. You know, he now knows I need to play on the defensive because I have a huge advantage right now.
Yeah.
So building armor is a great decision.
And he's pretty much doing nothing but making a ton of Marauders right now. 5 Marauders at a time. And looks like we are going to have an engagement. Oh, EMP splash on a lot of units there. It actually did take out almost every single one of the charge lots, which means that they're easy pickings to the rest of the battle forces. A couple of Ghosts were at the front. The Ghosts actually ended up getting killed very quickly, but the 4th base goes down. The 3rd base has no workers left at it. And ladies and gentlemen, Creator Prime is getting rolled by Puma. There's GG. EG goes up 2-1.
With some very crisp play there. Very, my favorite at the end there. He kind of had this line maybe 5 units wide that just extended so far back, and all the charge lots came forward. You know, if you get like a nice big line of troops, you're kind of like colonial musketeering it at each other. Zealots are great because, you know, what do musket balls do versus Zealots? But when they're like standing in that thin line, that was awesome. The Zealots were only hitting like 4 or 5 units at a time. Good stuff. Out of Puma, he takes down Creator.
That was an awesome game. Like, that was one of the better PVTs that I've seen in a while. Just very back and forth, very even the whole way. But Puma, man, caught a big advantage and just steamrolled his opponent. So
he did, and that nuke on top of it. I mean, it literally, can we say it was... I can't, especially not with Grubby on stream, I can't say it was literally the cherry on top.
Well, there we have it, guys. That is game number 3. Evil Geniuses up 2-1 over Prime at the moment. Prime sending in another Protoss player next. It's going to be Classic. So we're going to run to a commercial break. When we get back, it's time for game number 4 between EG and Prime.